This one's gonna be la da 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 da. All right. Hello, my name is Cyril Kanda. Unfortunately, I'm alive. Awesome.
Jesus.
Man, what an
All right.
opening.
All right, Malik, talk.
Hi, I'm Malik Banks. I'm very lucky to be alive today.
Fucking, I hate you, chipper niggas. All right, Khadijah.
Did he just call you Khadijah?
Please.
Talk about this.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, Gabby.
That's what I thought you said.
What?
That's what I thought.
Speak
you
with your.
said.
See, you do this thing, right? Where you speak with this voice that's like, speak with the bass that I know
I'm
you have.
literally just talking the way I talk.
Because, see, this is the issue. Whenever we do the podcast, you end up always being the loudest.
Really?
Yes, because I have to boost your levels. Because at the beginning you start talking like a little bitch, and then halfway through you start bringing in your man voice. So like, no, I'm dead ass. No, but I'm dead ass serious. If you listen to the
Then just
podcast,
start me lower.
yes, but then I eventually have to rate because you're too low.
I don't know. I feel like I'm talking at a normal tone.
All right, then the nigga voice is gonna come out. And it's like, oh man.
I hate you, sir.
All right, so it's like it's a whole thing.
Well, just tell me. I
I
hate that you said I have a nigga voice.
mean,
You don't have a
you
nigga
do,
voice.
and you keep it under wraps for some reason. I don't know why.
I hate that.
I don't.
You said
I don't.
I mean, we know
see it come
Gabby.
out.
All right, hey. I can show you when it comes out. I
I'd-
can
okay,
show you when it comes out.
Okay, after the podcast.
After the pod, I will show
Show it.
you when it comes out. Okay?
Okay.
I'll show you when it comes out.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the business show. I'm unfortunately
happening?
Cyril Kanda.
I'm Malik Banks.
I'm Gabby.
Okay. I don't really care about how your weeks went. So recently
Yeah, he's so rude to his
We
co-hosts.
we watched the
You don't want
documentary.
to know how this week went.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. We watched a documentary. It was a 4-part documentary, so we didn't watch it all at once. We watched in 2, and then we watched 2.
Yep.
Right? And the documentary was on Big Daddy Bill Cosby.
Yep.
Keep pimping, Bill.
Keep-
Yeah, honestly,
God.
I didn't know what we were in for. And so, like, I did giggle at that at the beginning out of, like, oh, that's funny. But now I giggle out of, like, nervousness.
Yeah,
like,
right.
like that.
Right.
That was some wild
He
shit,
should be
dude.
on a list. Who was that?
Sugar Free. Someone
What
needs
did
to
he
watch
make?
Sugar Free. He raps. He's a rapper.
Yeah, but what songs did he make?
I don't know, but I've seen a freestyle by him and it was pretty decent. But like
This-
he needs to be on the
There's
list.
probably some old head watching like,
Yeah.
these niggas don't know Sugar Free.
Yeah. He's he should be on the list for sure. I'll let you guys kind of give the plot synopsis.
Okay. So the first episode is basically a background, right? It started, I think the cadence of it all was like, first episode was more focused in the 60s. Second was in the 70s.
Oh, I didn't realize that, but yeah, you're right.
Third episode was the 80s. And then the last episode was the 90s through present day. And so, the first episode was more heavily focused on Bill Cosby's legacy, what he's done for the black community, what he has, all his accomplishments, how he came to be, and his uprising story. And then it interviews the woman or the survivors from that era when he was coming up.
Well, for those who
Right.
maybe don't know, like, what is the entire controversy with Bill Cosby?
He's a rapist, serial rapist.
Like, yeah, not even like blunt, no questions, no
It's-
ifs, buffs, no maybes.
It
He
is.
drugged and then had sex with unconscious women multiple times.
Yes. And it's weird. And it's also like, as time went on, the MO, not the MO, but the way he did it changed.
But what's crazy
Right.
is that what makes him a serial rapist is that it was the same exact
Yes.
pattern
Yes.
through and
Mhm.
through.
Yes.
Right? It's one thing
Mhm.
to have different. It'd be one thing if these women all had different stories, but they have the exact
same story.
same
Mhm.
story
Right.
every time.
I guess what I'm trying to say is the tools that he used were different.
What do you mean?
Spanish Fly. Then there's
Was
the
Spanish-
Quaaludes.
I'm confused. Was Spanish Fly like? Was that real? Was he really using it, or was he just like?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Because I know the lewds were real, but I feel like Spanish Fly, he was just being like he was just
in his
joking.
Playboy days, he was using Spanish
Was he
Fly.
really? Okay.
And then after that, he started using the
Quaaludes.
right? And then later on, like in the 4th episode,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't hear a whole lot about that. It was just more about like just him asserting his power, just bluntly.
Like the models.
Yeah.
Well, it gets a little tricky because we didn't hear from any of the models. The only thing I remember from that last episode was that one lady who he tried to just off the muscle.
Yeah.
Our auntie, and she wasn't having it. Like that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right. I do think you can assume extrapolate from that instance that like we said, the weaker ones he definitely could have done just straight off the muscle.
Yeah.
But even so, remember there's that other lady who had like that couple that just looks like the same. She remember she's like, I don't drink, and then you gave her alcohol. Right. And so
the alcohol I think was also like spiked though.
Oh, every time it was spiked. Every time it was spiked
Yeah.
because he's been doing that for a while.
Yeah, because 2 shots isn't gonna make you like fall asleep and not unconscious.
And not remember.
Yeah. Shoot, I forgot what I was gonna say. No, but I feel like that's what makes him, that's the serial part, right? Like, doesn't matter. Like, to your point, the MO is the same throughout, right? Overall, though, the documentary, I mean, I kept commenting on this while we were watching it, but like, it was just very well done. Like, every moment was very intentional, and like, there was one moment where I really appreciated was when those 2 ladies from the Playboy Mansion were talking about their experience working there, and I thought that was so interesting, just to set the it really kind of set the stage a little bit.
It did set the stage. I'm not allowed to talk about that, but it did set the stage.
Yeah, it was just like, wait, hold on. I feel like I'm walking in a land.
Nah, bro. I'm not allowed to talk about it.
This is your podcast.
No, it's not.
I'm just here.
I'm here to disseminate information through the masses.
This isn't like.
Let Malik talk about it. I thought it really did set the tone because of the juxtaposition, right?
Yeah,
it showed the good. It showed one side and the another side, and that was a common theme throughout the entire thing, right?
Yeah. 2 women in the 60s making, what was it?
It was $1,000 a week, which is equivalent to $9,271 a week.
So yeah, and that was like on a bad day. Sometimes they make double that.
Yeah, they were talking about the Playboy Mansion, and one of them was like, "It was great. We made so much money," and the other one was like, "It was degrading. I was objectified." And it's like,
that's a lot of money.
One lady said, "Yeah, we were buying houses." I'm like, "Yo, for a woman, first of all, it was a black woman. For a black woman to say she was buying houses in the '60s, come on now, right? Like,
honestly, even now, like, that's not a bad gig.
Yeah, I mean, shit, I'd love to make 10 grand a week, to be honest. 20 grand?
Yeah.
And I bet it was in a way that it was in tips, so Uncle Sam's not touching that shit.
It's all cash.
Yeah.
I mean, he gonna find a way these days.
In the 60s, I don't think he was finding a way.
Yeah,
these days
he wasn't as sophisticated.
Yeah. No, I really liked, I thought I was telling Gabby earlier today, I didn't know anything about the case. I know he went to jail for raping. I didn't know the number. I didn't know the magnitude. I didn't know. One thing this documentary did, and I don't know if it's implicitly or explicitly, but it showed you maybe the inner workings of Bill Cosby, right? Which is, if Bill Cosby was a chess player, he'd be an excellent chess player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The man knows what he's doing. He's like, I don't know if I'd say he's a hyper calculated person, but he's not a dummy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What makes you say he's not a hyper calculated person though? Because I feel like he is.
Yeah.
Right.
At least somewhat calculated.
I feel like every like. I know there like I feel like any hyper calculating person is gonna run into a situation they didn't plan for, but I think everything that he did, I think one example that really stands out is when that one lady was on set and she was being called to the dressing room.
You mean our auntie?
Yes, our auntie, right? And everyone there didn't say anything, right?
Yeah.
But no one
Or-
wants to. I mean, and that's
But
maybe
that's
we'll talk about
intentional,
this
though.
later. But like, no one. One thing about people that you have to understand is people are spineless, bro.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
don't.
But but I
aren't-
think
aren't built on
what I'm trying to
rock.
say, what I'm trying to say is though, is I feel like he knew that, and so he took advantage of that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also,
Mhm.
I would like to. One thing I couldn't get a good gauge on, which I would like to, is how brazen did his efforts get the more popular he became. That's one thing I
Mm.
couldn't understand and put a
It
finger
seemed
on.
like that our auntie was an example of that, though. Do you know what I mean? The
Yeah.
fact
Yeah.
that he would do it at work, not
Right.
even bothering
Midday.
to drug her,
Midday.
not even trying to drug
That's
her,
pretty
just off
brazen.
like
Yeah.
off the fact that he's Bill Cosby. I feel like that's pretty brazen.
That's pretty
It's-
brazen.
Yeah.
But the thing, and so a thing about that was so interesting was when you really sit down and you think about it. These, it was an impossible hill to climb if you're a woman.
What do you mean?
Like, who's gonna believe that Bill
Yeah.
Cosby raped you, bro?
Yeah. Right.
That was the dilemma
yeah.
for all these years.
Like,
Yeah.
like I'd say this I'm a skeptic. I wouldn't put it past anybody, but that's like having a young white girl say that LeBron raped her.
Yeah.
That'd be met with a lot of static. Even though we're in the
Yeah.
era that we're in right now, where we do take that a little bit more seriously. Obviously, not as
even
greatly.
then though, like it would take like multiple women to like take him down. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't that long ago that someone accused Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano.
Dude, that
Ronaldo?
girl, you didn't hear about that?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo.
So okay, this is.
I don't know if it was true,
He
but it was
got
just
all
one
the love.
woman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I see
So
what you're
like
saying.
it didn't really.
Get traction.
Yeah.
Damn. Question for y'all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think, hypothetically, if Cosby got caught earlier and there was a movement like a Me Too movement back in the 60s,
Mm-hmm.
do you think his legacy would still be this, like something similar?
Yes.
Well, like, didn't his career kind of start in the 60s?
Yeah.
I feel like it would be too early
You think his career would fail?
if he was taken down then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like well, I guess, not that he was taken down, but people were speaking out about it.
Yeah. I do think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that maybe it's just hard to say, right? Because the 60s were a different time. 60s, they didn't really care. I mean, they still don't
Mhm.
really care, but in the 60s, they really didn't care.
Also, Cosby Show didn't happen till what?
90s.
Yeah.
89, I think they're 90s. I don't know. I can give you a date on it.
I think it started in the 80s.
Yeah.
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 I don't know. I think Bill Cosby is he's an interesting character, but I have some notes here for some things that I thought were interesting, which was, so there's this weird thing about being obviously African-American actor or a star, which is it gets to a point where you stop being whatever race you are,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Is Bill Cosby raceless like OJ was kind of raceless? Like, it got to a point where black people could breathe a sigh of relief and be like, ugh, they're not going to put this on black people.
I feel
I
like
feel-
that had nothing to do with Bill Cosby, though.
I think people had a sigh of relief, or I don't know. I think the sigh of relief came from when he started talking all that shit to inner city kids.
Because then he kind of distanced himself
distanced
from us,
himself
right?
from us,
He
right.
said, I don't like black people either.
Right.
So he kind of bridged, he distanced himself from African Americans.
Yeah.
And so he kind of put himself in this weird amorphous category.
Right. Exactly. Like he put himself in the Uncle Tom category on his own.
I always find that interesting.
Yeah.
Because OJ said, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Right.
But I always find that really interesting because as black people we can't handle bad publicity. Like we can't.
No.
We already have such a marked image.
Right.
So I do kind of appreciate that because whenever I think about rapists, I always think blonde haired, blue eyed white boy who goes to college.
Mm.
Like I never think big black dude.
Right.
And maybe that's my own skew, right? Obviously, races comes in different shapes and sizes, but if we're gonna go based off stereotypes, right?
Right.
Like it would not help our image of what people already think about us if we also had, like Bill Cosby at such a
Right.
serial level being a black community. So I think there's no such thing as silver lining in this situation, but it is hurtful that black men were so much for him and kind of didn't sit down and realize the facts.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also good that he distanced himself from black people so that people don't associate his crimes with, like, that's what blacks do.
Right.
To be honest, though, I
Right.
feel like that was never going to be the case.
You don't think so?
No.
Explain.
Because, like, when we think school shooters, we have an associated
We just
group.
like
Mm.
rape just isn't associated with like black people specifically.
But it once was.
It was. That's the
Really?
issue. Oh, yeah. That's what they used to
Yeah,
tell
but
white people.
we're way beyond that though. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like now it's not.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, like, you
We're
don't...
just way beyond that. you
yeah,
know?
that's not... But
It's a very archaic.
Yeah.
Like men own that. No color.
You're right.
Period. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
Like when you think of a
Mm.
rapist, you think of a man.
Yeah,
Yeah. Right. That's true.
fair enough.
That's true. Yeah. And it was also, it's such a tight rope too. That I mean, especially in the '60s, and he was still. I mean, he was doing that. Where we weren't too far from us being portrayed as coons on TV.
Yeah, I mean, and,
Right.
and that's even
And
what
that's-
my
and
next
that's the-
question was, which
Right.
is like the tricky part about Bill Cosby, for me at least, is, first of all, I love comedy. I'm a
Mhm.
huge comedy fan, things like that. The man was nice. Like, he was good at what he did. Like, you could, if you deny from a technical standpoint his comedic prowess, you're just being a hater.
Right.
Like, if you can, obviously, just talking about him as a comedian,
Mm.
nice, one of
Right.
the greats, right? But it's so hard for me. It's not hard for me, actually, but it's just one of those things, because I'm a negative person. It's just one of those things where it's really interesting that he moved the needle forward, right? He was the first time we saw a black character, and I didn't realize this. We saw a black character, Jesus. We saw a black character who wasn't slow,
Right.
who didn't seem like he needed a white man to guide him,
Right.
right? Who didn't seem like he was just a dumb slave, right? Or a dumb farmhand or something like that. He was sharp. He was the main character. He was smarter. He spoke more languages. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the guy. He was the first black superhero, right? And it's like he paved the way for us so much that I don't even think some of our younger people understand what Bill Cosby did. Like,
Yeah. Before this
documentary,
documentary, I didn't understand, because when I was introduced to Cosby, he was already washed up.
yeah,
He was already in that Uncle Tom category, which
Mhm.
like I knew him as
I
the
didn't know
dude
about
that,
that. Yeah,
I knew him as the dude that was like
black people need to pull up the pants.
exactly. And my parents were pissed about that.
Really?
Yeah, so I don't know, it was like that was my knowledge of him. So when that came out, I was like, oh, fuck that nigga. Like,
Okay,
yeah.
so he was already like a public enemy in your mind.
I guess
Just not as significant.
yeah,
Mm.
right.
He wasn't as significant. in
I
my
had
life
no
either.
idea about his contribution.
Me neither.
You know?
Yeah, I didn't.
Do you still recognize his contributions as being great for us?
Yes. Yeah. You
I
can't.
mean, I agree too.
Yeah, you can't.
So
It's
I
hard
mean,
to deny. It's just
I know
Yeah.
it's difficult, obviously, but
Right.
I mean, I know Gabby and I were talking earlier, and Gabby said, "Well, someone else would have came along."
Well, you asked the question, did we need Bill Cosby?
That's true.
That's
That's
a
true.
different question.
Mm.
I don't think we needed him.
mm,
I just think that's a loaded question. But
Fair enough. Do you think we needed him?
me. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I can take a side on that, because it's hard to. I mean, if I'm gonna speculate, yeah. I mean, who knows? Who would have came next, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who knows when that would have came, right? I mean, that person may have come just now.
This is
know,
another
like-
question that I have. Who in that documentary, I'm sure they would have touched on it, but like, it didn't seem that anyone really ran with Cosby.
Ran with him.
Right? Like in our
Oh,
generation,
okay.
we have I only know a soccer analogy, but like we have Cristiano Ronaldo, but we also have Lionel Messi. Like we have
right.
two greats.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like who
Like
there
like
was no
there's
other there was no one who like there was no Prince in Michael Jackson.
I mean, Bill Cosby was one man, but they did speak of like other people doing similar things. Like there was another comedian,
Dick Gregory.
right, who
But-
would talk about more black things. There was a different world, which was another
Yeah.
black show that
Right.
you know.
But Cosby was at the top. And like touching on Dick Gregory, one thing that they talked about Cosby, and one thing about Cosby that I find very interesting is that in the beginning of his career, when he started off, he didn't talk about race, right?
Right.
Which is pretty wild. And he had talked about race, but then for some reason I think he saw that Dick Gregory spoke about race. He saw that made the whites uncomfortable, and I think this is kind of where the wheels start turning. And he was like, I need the whites on my team, right? So he stopped talking about race, and he gained a lot of white fans, right? But then do you remember there's a part in the documentary where he just turns, starts Fat Albert. He starts teaching about American history and Black history.
Yeah,
Do you remember
yeah,
that?
Right. Yeah. Because that was right out. Like that was height of civil rights era, right?
Such a hard right turn.
Yeah.
No. It was after
Or
civil
after-
rights.
after
It
civil
was
rights, okay.
80s. It was I forget what time it was, but like he took a hard right turn and then he became an educator. You remember? Like they had a whole thing about he became an educator, right?
Right.
And I'm wondering. This is why I find him so interesting. Is a lot of people you can figure out what their motivations are, right?
Right.
His motivations are so unclear because to go from it's almost like I don't know if he planned it, but he's like I'm gonna get all these white people because that was it, as much as we don't like to say it. It did help us, right? Because
Right.
there's something about Dick Gregory, who's always been pro-black,
Right.
telling you about black things as a white person, right? Because they'll be
Right.
like, he's just, pushing his pro-black agenda. But when you have someone like Bill Cosby, who you trusted,
Right.
right?
Right.
Now you'll listen to him. Because it's
Right.
not like he's beating you over the head. Now it's like, well, I trust Cosby. Cosby
Right.
can't be lying to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
it's weird that he almost built it like a small business, right? He like
Right.
got a following, and then he like boosted the following.
Following.
Sorry,
No, you're good.
and then he delivered the product that I guess I don't know if he really wanted to deliver a product or he was just a messenger of the times,
Huh.
right?
Right.
And then so he delivers the Fat Alberts, he delivers all the educational shows that he's on, right? And then obviously we move into the later Coon phase,
Right.
but it's just really. It's a weird trajectory that Cosby takes, right? Because
that weird. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, explain.
I mean, I don't think it's that weird. Like, I don't think he ever contradicted himself, really.
And that's the reason why I'm having a hard time, which is he that smart, or is he incredibly bright? Is he an opportunist, or did things just fall in his lap? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think all of these things can be true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he never
I think he's-
contradicted
I think
himself.
he's smart enough to take advantage of everything that comes his way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's a
It's like his educational shows, Fat Albert, all of that. It doesn't contradict what he was necessarily saying about black people later. Do you know what I mean? Like those opinions they're not really opinions.
And
you're
that's
just
and that's
educating.
and that's what I mean about Bill Cosby. That's so interesting, which is he never flip flopped technically, right?
Mhm.
He never he never backtracked.
right.
If you listen, he never ever had to apologize. Never
Yeah,
had to
he never
turn
did.
on what he
He never
said.
did, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Like
know what you're saying,
he's always charted a path. I don't want to say forward, but he's always charted a path where he's never had to turn back. You know what I mean?
You're right.
That's incredible.
That shit he said to Wanda Sykes.
I don't know why
Yo.
he's so hard up on that because it's not like he didn't grow up in the projects. Like he needs to relax.
That was crazy.
But
I
also,
was like, what?
it goes back to it's the bootstraps argument. It's the reason why some black people. So I was speaking to who was I speaking to? Our office manager at Wood, and he was telling me there was a black man who fought tooth and nail to get affirmative action out of the UC system. Fought tooth and nail to get it out, and he was telling me, he's like, I cannot for the life of me understand why they would not, Why a black person who's done so well would not want others to have the same opportunity? And it's just, I mean, my uncle says it's the one mentality where white people usually just pick one of us, so you want it to be you.
Right.
But then sometimes just some people are just caught up in the, well, I did it, you can do it too. And it's like, it's not. Yo, I guarantee you, some people who have done it, you have to look at the I hate to use this word, the grace that has been bestowed upon you. Like, you have been lucky.
Right.
Things have lined up. You've been at the right place at the right time. It's not that easy. You know what I mean? It's not that easy at all. And it seems though people they forget to think about that.
Right.
How lucky their lives have lined up compared to others. Right. Even if you both grew up in the project, in the ghetto, maybe, you know, you had a mom who just cared about school a little bit more, or like you had someone in your life who just said a couple words to you and it changed your whole trajectory. It's not that simple. So I don't know why I don't know.
So question for y'all. What do y'all think of the Supreme Court case for affirmative action?
Which one?
The one that's coming up?
The one that's coming up. So, okay, I'll elaborate. So, typically, white and Asian students are the highest admitted demographics in universities.
Not typically. That's the only place where they're not is HBCUs.
There's a few other schools too.
Right. So I think it was Harvard. They changed some policies so that, you know, they would, you know, consider other demographics.
We looked at the demographics not too long ago.
Wait, can we let him finish?
Oh, I'm sorry.
They changed some policies so they can, you know, get more, you know, demographics, or make it easier for other demographics to come to Harvard. And this Asian student who applied to Harvard filed suit against Harvard, saying that their affirmative action was discriminatory towards Asian students. I don't know. And then so that's gone all the way up to the Supreme Court.
There's a white girl who filed a similar claim against the University of Texas, and Texas said, "Suck our entire country
that
dicks."
did happen. Yeah.
Do you know who affirmative action helps the most?
White women.
Yeah. So let's cut the nonsense now. And the reason I've talked about this at length, but not to beat up a dead horse. They talk like the school is full of black people or the school is full of Hispanics. We're still minorities.
Right.
You're not losing. Be mad that you didn't beat your cousin.
Right.
Right. Don't be mad they didn't beat us. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
if this world truly ran on a meritocracy where you get to where you get to because of what you earned,
this would be a
there
whole
would be
different place.
there would be no white people in school. It'd be all Asian people.
Yeah.
All right. So let's relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Go after the whites. Don't go after us. Okay. Worry about, because isn't it that legacy?
Yeah.
Legacy is like
Ivy League schools. Legacy?
Yeah, legacy is a big. You know what I'm saying?
How much money?
So yeah, they need to relax with that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, so one thing that I have a question here that we can answer wholeheartedly is he a sociopath? Absolutely.
Yes.
The part that took me so aback was that in that deposition, they're like, "Yo, was you buying drugs with the purpose of giving them to women?" He said yes.
Yeah.
Lie.
Well, they told him that anything he said would not be used against him.
True. But like, maybe I'm just that. I would still lie. Why would you tell the truth? Like, that's the sick part of him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like he honestly doesn't think that was wrong.
He didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
I would lie.
Yeah, that's
what makes him a sociopath.
You're right.
That's
and
wild.
The fact that he's so good at just like, not just because he wasn't hiding it there, but like the fact that he was so good at getting away with it too. All the mechanisms that he had in place to,
like I told you, right?
It was all a setup because he's a sociopath. You know?
It was why when he brought that girl's family to the set and everything, like, even if you told your parents he raped you, they would be like, either they wouldn't believe you, or they'd be like, well, you have a good thing going on. Why would you mess that up?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it's pretty wild what he did.
That's pretty crazy. And sorry, go ahead.
Do sociopaths lie?
Oh, big time. Oh yeah.
Then I don't get why he didn't lie when they asked him that.
I don't think what he thought. Well, first of all, like he said, they told him anything you say will not be used against you, which is what caused the mistrial because
That's very true. That is
they
very
used
true.
it against
That is
him.
very
Yeah.
true.
But secondly, like I don't think he thought he was doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? Like he did not see, and we see that in the clips that they show of him talking, like low key talking about like using Spanish fly.
Spanish fly, you
The
put a
barbecue
dab.
sauce.
Yeah.
Yo, I was
That
freaking
barbecue
out,
sauce thing was pretty.
'cause
Cause see
I
how he
saw that
cleaned that kid's
episode, I
mouth.
was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
You'll see how they get lovey-dovey after the barbecue sauce. My barbecue sauce. And it's like, dude, what the fuck, man? You know what? And we haven't touched on this yet, but I thought this was super interesting. The amount of breadcrumbs
yeah.
this man left.
And that's also another reason why I think he's a sociopath.
Yeah,
He wants to get caught, or
The fact that he's either he wants to get caught or he's just fucking with everybody.
yeah.
Like,
I
you know,
feel like he's fucking with everything. He seems like a gamesman. He seems like
you know
that
what
kind
I mean?
of person.
Like it's just like it's either one or the other. It has to be one of the two. Like either his subconscious is like, help.
I don't.
Or-
Something tells me about Cosby. He is not that kind of
Or-
guy.
I mean, he didn't have to like purposely do it. I mean, it could just be just his
Unconscious
lizard brain
mind. Yeah, his
just doing
unconscious
that
mind.
shit.
Yeah.
Or the fact that he's just like just kind of fucking with people, which I'm more the latter.
I
I'm not
really
there.
think he was fucking with people.
Like, cause that's some sick shit. That's what a real sociopath would do, in my opinion. My professional opinion.
Like the slow burn with the crumbs and everything like that.
yeah.
Why
like-
was he even hanging at the Playboy Mansion? You know what I
'cause he
mean?
likes-
Like
he's I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, another thing that I find kind of interesting is like he's married. He has a wife.
Yeah.
Like this is where I learned how calculated Bill Cosby is. His wife is a plant. She's not a plant. His wife was a calculated move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think we're talking about the answer. Like his wife was someone who he could easily manipulate, someone
Right.
who doesn't speak out,
Right.
someone who wouldn't, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like she's an extra in the show. She's not a star player.
Right.
They didn't even really talk about her much.
Well, the fact that a lot of his castmates are like, I never met Camille. That's
Not
crazy.
once. And
you
how
never
many
met.
years that show run?
I forget, but like you never met the stars or what? Like you never had Christmas parties.
Yeah,
Let me see how long it ran for.
that is really interesting.
Yeah, because that. Yeah.
Talk about the show.
8 seasons. 8 years. You never met Camille, bro.
That's really crazy, honestly.
That's wild.
One thing this thing didn't touch about at all is I don't know any of his children's names. I know Ennis, the one who died. He had
Yeah.
4 daughters. I don't know any of their names.
Maybe that was on purpose.
To like preserve them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that, but there's also. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it. I
mean,
think
they
it was
kinda-
more.
Sorry, go ahead. No,
I feel like it was more for his benefit. Like,
Cosby.
yeah,
I mean, the kids had nothing to do with it.
but they served. I think they kind of served as a prop.
You think
Yeah, that's
so?
how I feel too. I feel
You
like the
think so?
kids. I think the kids are not like.
I feel like they never talked about the kids.
I don't
though.
feel like he loves his children
I don't know about
I don't.
that.
I couldn't speak
because
on that, but
because they were never character witnesses. Like if because the one thing this documentary did that I thought was great was it served to show Bill Cosby's character in the juxtaposition, right? Who better to tell how good of a father you are than your children?
And they didn't.
And they never even talked about his children. And his children are full grown. They're not babies. They're full grown, like 40-year-old people.
Yikes.
You know what I'm saying? Like never
Were there
never
any?
once.
Were there any character witnesses
Yeah, there's so many people who said Bill Cosby was a good guy. He did this, he did that, he
in
did that.
court?
Oh no! But just like in the
Oh well, I don't think their children would come on this documentary.
true, but there were talks like other people said like there were if Bill Cosby was a great father, I feel like we would have heard. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I feel like potentially like it was purposeful not to talk about his children because like they don't need to be dragged into all this mess.
Fair enough.
Like if I was making
That's
a
fair.
documentary about Bill Cosby, I don't think I would dig into the children. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
that's-
not.
I guess that's true.
It's not fair.
Like you're like, oh, like they, yeah,
They have nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
Like they're not gonna
bystander.
add too much to it
Yeah.
anyways. Like
Yeah.
he was gonna
Well,
interview
did you say
his
the same
kids.
thing about his wife though?
Wife is different
Why is that different?
because I feel like the wife knew.
Yeah.
I feel like the wife knew what was going
Do
on.
you, so in that way, you're saying that like she was an enabler at that point.
I feel like potentially. Potentially.
And that I think is the theme of this documentary, which is Cosby is a man, right? But Cosby would not be able to do all he did without people enabling him to do so. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that is like
Right.
you know, Auntie said there was a guy, Frankie or whatever, who was like, "Oh, you should go to his room." You know what I'm saying? Or go
Right.
to his thing. Like there were people who knew exactly what he was doing.
Right.
But the bag means too much to some people.
Question. If that was happening, y'all were getting paid as much as they were getting paid. I don't know how much it was. It's probably a good chunk of money if you're on the Cosby Show.
Yes, I would say something if that's your question.
That is my question.
There's only one right answer.
That's crazy.
Oh God. That's when you play that sociopathic shit back.
What?
You'd set it up so it doesn't look like you snitched.
I don't think people are that bright.
Y'all some bitches. Y'all some bitches.
Yeah, that's crazy. So one thing about Bill Cosby that was super interesting was, you know, that I mentioned before, is he was a black man that white people trusted, right? Do you think that we still need that?
No, I hate those types of people.
Yeah. Right.
Really?
Yeah.
I would say, yeah.
White people trusted MLK.
Okay.
So
And
you
they
hated
still
MLK.
use
And
They
honestly,
still
they
drag his-
didn't.
and they still-
They
still
actually
drag his name
didn't.
through the dirt too.
They definitely killed him.
Yeah, they definitely killed him.
And they definitely whitewashed MLK. Like, white people think they would trust MLK. Like, they whitewashed
Right.
his beliefs a lot. And they definitely killed him because
Right.
they didn't trust him.
Yeah.
So, next question.
I don't know. Like. Yeah, I'm with you, Gabby. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think we need another one of those. I think.
I hate black people who cape for white people. Like, that shit is so ugly to me.
No.
Next.
If you want to say next, you bring up the questions, bro.
Oh, no. You got thoughts?
You have questions?
No.
I feel like we're doing the heavy lifting.
What?
Nothing.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
Qu'est-ce qui se passe? I don't know what that means. I don't speak fucking Chinese.
It's not
Do you think we need those types of black people?
Me, you know what, Gabby? If I've learned
I
anything
think
about living in this house, I'm gonna keep my opinions to myself.
Why
I
are we?
think-
Why are
I
we
think-
doing this
okay, here's
podcast
the
if
thing.
you're not going to give your
Here's the
opinion?
Because I just want to hear you guys.
Why?
Here's the thing.
But
I
then
feel
you're
like
salty because
we
you didn't
don't-
get to say anything.
we don't need those kind of black people, but there are.
Well, I mean, that was the thing.
Like,
Is like
it's
we
just
couldn't
like-
figure out who do we have like that right now.
Honestly, I think in this day and age, maybe this is an unpopular opinion. I don't know. This is how I feel about it. There's white people playing that role.
What, caping for blacks?
No. So, like, being
Interesting.
allies for black people. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. I know
They are
exactly
doing
what
that
you
heavy
mean.
lifting that we don't have to, which I really appreciate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, yeah.
Do you have a vocal one in mind, or
No, it's people.
just
Like when you
Yeah,
okay,
man.
all right. So like when you go to like I don't know. This is gonna be a very generic example, but like sometimes. So you guys know Sunrise, the environmental group.
I'm not from here.
Okay, well they're
I hate
environmental.
the
group.
environment.
They organize protests and stuff. But I went to one of their meetings and they're like, we should have. They didn't say it quite blatantly like this, but they were like, white people, we need to be on the front lines. Because if you get arrested,
You ain't
You
going to
gonna be
jail.
alright.
You be alright.
you're gonna be okay.
To be honest, I don't trust black people that white people like trust a lot. Do you know what I mean? It's giving like Kamala Harris. You know what I mean? Like it's giving. I don't
It's
know.
giving.
Pond. I don't know. You taking a picture? No.
What?
I was just thinking.
Yeah. I don't know. That's an interesting one.
That's just how I feel about that. Personally.
What do you think, Malik?
I feel like I just gotta meet whoever it is, and I can form an opinion.
You have to see them first.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know, like I don't like y'all know, everybody on this podcast know, everybody who listens to this podcast know, my partner is white. But
I feel like we never
feel
really
like-
discussed this actually
Really?
on the podcast.
Oh.
I don't know,
Well,
maybe I forgot.
she is. And by consequence, I end up hanging out with a lot of white people. Right. Now, granted,
I gotta write that down. By consequence.
By consequence.
That's funny.
but I guess one thing that tends to happen is like a lot of times I don't go to a lot of events or things or hangouts because it's just too many white people. Right?
How do
But-
Caucasians make you feel?
Tense
Why?
because I grew up with them.
And what behavior did they display to make you feel that way?
Oh, that would take a whole motherfucking podcast.
Give me the short version.
Shit.
You know, give me one sentence on your disdain for large groups of Caucasians.
I mean, othered is a really cliche one, but
I think it's a good one though.
Mm.
Good
You
way
know.
to sum it up.
yeah, othered. I don't know. My point is, I end up hanging out with a lot of these white people, and sometimes like I just won't even give them the time of day. And then if they're around enough, if they're cool enough, then I'll be like, okay, all right, you cool.
Yeah.
And then
They
like
have to build
I'll bring them
cachet.
I'll bring them to other black people, and I'll be like, nah, they cool.
They have to
And then
build
they-
cachet with you.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. That's my take on it. So I can't really like when another black person brings a white person to me and they say, oh, they're cool, then
They're vetted.
I'm not to say that I can trust that they're vetted, but I would have. It's the same process, you
Mm.
know.
They have to come around a couple times.
Yeah.
What about you, Gabby?
What about me?
What sum up in a sentence your major qualm?
I think other was a good
with the
one.
non-melanated.
Yeah, like other just like general discomfort. Like I feel like I can't be my true self around large groups of white people.
Yeah.
I
see
try to
that.
avoid
I
that
see that.
situation.
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't find myself in large groups of white people ever. Really. Rarely. Very rarely.
Yeah, no, I can. It's just, yeah. That's kind of like why I like living in Oakland a little bit more than San Francisco.
Right.
Yeah, I have an unpopular opinion about that.
Go for it.
All right.
I don't know, like I feel like a lot of black people like living in Oakland because there's like black people, much more black people. A, I feel like it's not enough to really make a difference. And B, like the black people I keep around me are like, I don't know. Like if I lived in San Francisco, I would still have those same black people I'd keep around me.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't feel that like when I'm just going about my day, like let's say at a coffee shop. Let's say that there's gonna be far more black people in a coffee shop in Oakland than there would be in San Francisco. I'm not interacting with those white people in San Francisco, so it doesn't affect me at all. That's just how I
Yeah.
feel about it.
But I feel like I don't know. There's not in. I don't know. I feel at least a little more at ease.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
I don't know.
I don't get that. I just feel like unless I'm in an intimate like scenario,
Right.
it doesn't bother me like what types of people are around me.
Mm.
Hmm.
I think the only time I might feel uncomfortable if I was like maybe like in the like South or something.
Mm. Mm.
I then can you kind of then flesh out what you mean by like you don't like large groups of white people? When you say that, you mean you don't like interacting with large.
Like if
groups
I'm
of
gonna
white
go to a party
people? Yeah.
where that's a social event,
Can
that's
you
an intimate event.
Move the mic a little bit away because now you're screaming.
Sorry, brown nigga.
Thank you. You brought your big girl voice.
If I'm at a party, that's like a more intimate event, like that requires.
And you
like,
don't want it to be a
talk.
large group of white
Like
people.
if I go to a coffee shop, I'm not chatting
I understand
with
what you're saying.
anyone. I'm basically by myself. You know
Mm.
what I mean?
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand what you're
So
saying.
like, you know what I mean? Like walking around even like walking around the streets of San Francisco, walking around the streets of Oakland, I'm basically by myself. So it doesn't matter if there's black people or white people walking by me. I don't know. For some reason, like I just don't get that, and I get that's an unpopular opinion. I just don't get
Yeah.
it.
I think, and maybe this is my experience, but I feel like you can be othered in a public space.
Yeah, I
You
guess
know,
I just don't
like-
feel that though. Like
Yeah.
in the context of the Bay Area.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like I said, I've said that maybe I'd feel that way if I was like in the South, like a certain part of the South. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I think that's just my like growing up in Roseville. I feel like
Yeah.
I've
I
experienced-
think I can understand what you're saying.
yeah. So that I don't know. I feel like I try to avoid that at all costs.
Do you
But-
feel as though, because I know I've spoken to Gabby about this, if you could build your ideal neighborhood, what would your ideal neighborhood look like?
Mm.
Because I remember we were talking, you're like, you really don't care.
I mean, honestly, I don't even think about. I think that's a very suburban question, because I don't think about my ideal neighborhood. Like I feel like
Mm.
my ideal living situation is the 50th floor.
That's
in
still a neighbor.
skyscraper.
It's still like
No, it's not. I don't imagine even interacting with my neighbors.
You don't? Okay.
yeah,
in
but
a
like,
high-rise,
if you
you
live
don't
in a
really-
high rise in Manhattan, you still live in like a neighborhood. You
But
still
it's
live in
not-
Soho. You still live in.
But me interacting with my neighbors, you know what I mean? I'm
I
not
went-
interacting with anyone.
I went from
all right.
that to where I am,
Mm-hmm.
and living in an apartment like that. You know your neighbors, but you don't know them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Now you live in the barrio.
And now, yeah. And so, where I live now, like, you know, I know my neighbors' names. You know, I've only lived there like not even a year, but I feel like it's much more of a
It's like homier.
yeah, it's
kinda.
homier. Yeah, you know, I feel like there's definitely more people you can interact with. So. You get a point. Like if
Yeah.
you're on like you don't want to interact with people. So
It's
being
not that I
on,
don't
like,
interact with that. I
or
just
not-
like if I were to go to imagine, like I'd have to be imagining myself living in the suburbs specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And like if that was the case, yeah, sure, I'd maybe want a blacker neighborhood. That's just not. I just don't. Am I being loud?
Fucking screaming.
I would. I think my ideal neighborhood would be similar to what I live in now, but I think. See, now I'm just gonna sound like a fucking racist. But you know, I think. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more. If I want to play music
Yeah.
loud at night,
You can do it. In your
I can do
neighborhood.
that in my neighborhood.
I definitely understand what you mean. There's a lack of community. There's lack of that lack of culture makes it hard to live in a place that's more white.
Right.
Right? They don't have the same customs.
Right.
Ironically, it's the type of white that you're interacting with.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised how much you have in common with trailer park whites than you do middle class whites.
Ooh,
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know.
I don't
Trust me.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Do you know any trailer park whites?
I know a
No,
few.
but
Okay,
what-
good.
I know a few.
So what would I don't know. I feel like speak for yourself on that one.
Nah, trailer park whites are pretty. Honestly, they're the best white people to me, at least. Yeah. They're very genuine people. The honest people.
honest people.
They don't really hate anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, they're
I think what ends up happening to them is just like a condition of
Indoctrination,
circumstance and
right? Yeah. Because if you meet a trailer park white, you're probably far more likely to connect with them than like a middle class suburban white
yeah,
by far. Just because they have the same kind of cultural norms, like like their food is very good. One thing you have to learn, or one thing I'm learning about food, and I don't want to talk too much, but one thing about food that I'm learning is the people who have the best food are those who had the worst circumstances, because they had to make do with very little.
Yeah.
Right. So Trailer Park Whites, just because of where they're from, they had to hunt a lot, so they know how
Right.
to season up all that shit,
Right.
make it so good and all that stuff. So
seasoning venison with juniper berries.
oh
and shit.
yeah,
I'm
right.
like,
It's
what
just
the
they
fuck?
just know how to. They just know how to. I prefer a Trailer Park White.
What the fuck is a juniper berry, right?
Yeah. I prefer a Trailer Park White to a middle class white any day.
I'd have to agree.
Yeah.
I've known a lot of Oregonian.
Right.
Trailer
They're
Park,
just
yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
You grew up in the city though, right? So you used to the.
I don't know anything about Trailer Park Whites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Country whites, hunting whites. Those are the best.
I don't even really want to be around any white people, to be honest.
That's fair.
I'm so confused.
What?
Never mind.
You always act like I'm contradicting myself, and I feel like I'm not.
I feel like not. Do you not want to be around whites, or you don't care about who you're around?
When I'm walking around the streets,
Mhm.
I'm by myself, so I don't care who else is there.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care to interact with Trailer Park Whites, middle class whites, higher up whites in my social life, in my work life. Can't really avoid that, but that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm walking around the streets, that's a very, that's a situation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if I see black people or white people. Not really, because I'm not interacting with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's the difference in interaction. When you're interacting with people, you prefer not to interact with white people. But if you're not interacting with anyone, you don't care who's around.
That's why it's just like the difference between Oakland and San Francisco. Like, I like San Francisco better.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of black people, and this is just my opinion, I think San Francisco is an objectively better place. A lot of black people like Oakland better.
I like here better,
and I feel like it's because there's more black people. I think objectively San Francisco is an objectively more fun place. There's more to do. You know what I mean? It's just more expensive. That's why I don't live there.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of black people prefer Oakland because there's black people here. I'm like, honestly, I prefer San Francisco. Like, when I'm walking around the streets, I don't care that there's white people or Asian people or whatever.
Right.
Would you say you're a person who cares about community?
Yeah, I have a community. Maybe that's why I don't care, because I have a community, and that community is very black. So my community is always with me when I'm in the Bay Area, because I have a community, and that community is black. So I have friends. You know what I mean? Like, I have people who are black. Like, I don't need to. My social life is not lacking in blackness.
I guess outside of your community, though, do you feel a need to help other black people, or is it for you it's just your community, and then after that those niggas are on their
sure.
own?
Care about helping other black people. I feel like that has nothing to do with the difference between Oakland and San Francisco. But
Well, I feel like, how can you help other black people if you're not amongst black people?
there's plenty of ways. How am I helping black people by living in Oakland?
No, but I'm just thinking that you would have an opportunity to see more things and be in the trenches more, right? Because as we've seen when we went to San Francisco, there are places where we can count where there's like, you just don't see black people.
But how
so
does
I guess
how does, like, the example of San Francisco versus Oakland, how does living in Oakland help?
in Oakland there are more black people to service.
In what ways?
If you wanted to help, I mean, it depends on what kind of help you want to give. But just by the sheer amount of numbers, there are more blacks to service.
And I just, like I said, it depends on the help you want to give.
Yeah, but you see what I mean? Like, I guess that might be why black people prefer Oakland. It's because if you want to service African Americans, there's a wider array of things that we can do.
Besides, like, the one
because they are
person
there.
that I both know that we're thinking of, I don't know any black people in Oakland who are serving other black people.
Okay, but
Do you know what I mean? So I don't think that's the reason black people like living in Oakland, because they can service other black people.
I mean, I feel like it's a really big part. Like, so I have a buddy named Joe, and he's in tune with like a lot of all the different age you can give to black people, right? There's a lot of offices around here, especially in downtown, that are dedicated to helping black youth. There's a black radio station. There's a lot of things. And so I think just my point is that it's easier to service where there are more numbers, right? Like, it's really hard to see the fruits of your labor and actually like physically get a tactile sense of what you're doing to help when there's just no one around to help. You know what I'm saying?
I understand.
But yeah, it's
Also,
whatever.
I'm just gonna put this out there too. I've been kind of off this conversation because I'm obviously biased, but I mean, y'all know the Panthers started here, right?
Yeah,
Like
Huey
it's
P. Newton
like
and Bobby Seale.
it's like not only is like it's a place that is like historic. I mean, it's a historically black place.
Yeah.
you know, it's
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of aura about it.
Yeah,
You know?
I like it for that too.
Yeah.
It's just like it's. I
But-
feel as though if you start something, and you want support, from the black community, it would be easier to do that here than in San Francisco.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you start something, and you want to have patronage from black people,
Right. Okay. That's
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
it'd be easier to do that here
Yeah.
than in San Francisco.
Oddly enough, I actually don't know what you're saying.
So like, let's say I'm starting a nonprofit to, I don't know, give me a topic. Supply students
Supplies,
with
supplies.
iPads
Yeah.
for learning. Students in Bayview have that. There's nothing left for me to do.
That's
in
it.
Bayview.
But if you do it in Oakland, you can do it in.
And also like the amount of funding I'm gonna get from San Francisco versus Oakland for that particular cause.
Yeah. The amount of people who'd
gonna
want to
get
donate
better.
because that cause hits them at home,
Right.
or they have more association with it,
Right.
right? Like if you start, perfect example, if you start a braiding business, you will have more patronage here than you will in San Francisco.
I guess. And I guess why this doesn't like hit home for me is because there's nothing I do, there's no passion I have that would serve Oakland specifically. Like, you know what I
Fair
mean?
enough.
Yeah.
I don't do
Yeah.
any of that.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And
I
most
like
of
it
the, and I guess my point is most of the people who say they love living in Oakland also don't do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I just think the concept of I just don't get it. I don't know. Like
That's
for that
that's
reason,
fair.
I get it.
Yeah.
But like most of the black people I know, they are not living here to service Oakland. I don't know.
Right.
I just don't get it.
Right.
One thing I will say that I appreciate about Oakland that you can't get in San Francisco. Stop looking like you're so confused. Just say
I'm
what you're gonna
thinking.
say. The only thing I appreciate about Oakland that like you can't get in San Francisco is there are a lot of like black-owned businesses. So that's
Mhm.
like it feels good to support those. There's a lot of workers collectives, which I think is cool.
And that's something I'll bring up too. Like, I think for me as an individual, as a business owner, as someone who is just trying to like, claw and scratch my way to whatever level I'm trying to get to, right? I feel like I'm gonna get more connections, more support from living here than what I would in San Francisco. But
Yeah, I don't know. I guess for what I'm imagining like the things that I aspire to.
mm-hmm.
I don't see, and it's just individual thing. Like the things I aspire
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
the black people that I see getting support from, it's not specific to one location.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where I live.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's tight.
I guess that's where I'm confused. Like, it's a numbers game, right? So like, there's just more numbers here.
Of black people?
Yeah. So like you said, the kind of black people who, from what I surmise, you said like you're saying the kind of black people that you're looking to support your business aren't geographically located, right? They're not But the thing is, it's a numbers game. There's just more black people here.
Okay, so I
You
guess
know
for
what I'm saying?
context, like I want to start an online shoe company. That doesn't require me to live in anywhere.
Right.
No. But like if you wanted to do an event, so yeah, I guess so. Like,
honestly, if I was gonna do an event, I'd probably have it in San Francisco. There's more people in San Francisco. It's like there's more. It's more densely populated. And it's just specific to me, like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I would say though you could capitalize off the moment better here.
Right.
What's the moment?
Like
I'm
black
supporting
business
a black
does,
woman-owned business.
Yeah, black business does good here.
I feel like I don't know. I just feel like I could do the exact same thing. And I'm not saying I want to live in San Francisco. I'm happy.
No,
where I
no,
live.
no, no. I'm not. No one's tripping off that at all.
Yeah.
But like, I think what I'm trying. I guess the what I'm trying to get at here is like, I feel like there is much more of a, not a market, but like,
I know exactly what you're saying. Like right now, there's a moment for people who are pushing black-owned business, and here in Oakland, they get excited about like a new
I
black-owned
guess.
business.
Right. And
So
then-
people would be so like people would almost be jumping at the opportunity to just even put into you more. Like San Francisco, it's different. They don't really like, they'll support your business, but people here will be like, I know this person, I know
Right.
this. They want
Right.
they want you to succeed.
And so, and then I think also too, and I love San Francisco too. My family's there. Like I've had a lot of support there too. So I'm not saying that it doesn't exist over there, but you run into a lot more people that are like, oh, I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Niggas
And
be
they're-
from
and
Oakland.
and they're like, I mean, cool, black-owned business, cool. But
Honestly, that's
I'm
actually
something
I don't know. Maybe I just view it differently. That's
Yeah.
actually a really good thing because you know what
Yeah.
they do? They go back to Phoenix, Arizona, and be like, "Look at these things I love."
If they go.
If
If they go, they tell their friends. It actually does
Yeah.
broaden. It actually does broaden your reach.
Yeah.
Mm.
Actually, if I was gonna do a pop-up shop in San Francisco and someone from Phoenix buys it, someone from New York buys it, someone
Right.
from versus
I
if
get what you're
only the
saying.
niggas
I get
from
what you're saying.
Oakland buy it. And I'm not saying that's a
Mm.
bad thing. Like
Right.
I would do, like if I had if I
Mhm.
was where I wanted to be, I would do pop up probably both because there's benefits.
yeah,
to
there's
it's
both.
just
benefits
there's a dual-sided
Yeah.
sword.
Yeah.
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 I like that debate. That's fine.
It's funny because I'm not even like, I want to go back to Atlanta, bro. Like I'm not even pro Oakland, but I
Mm.
don't know, something about Oakland. I don't know, and it's everyone and how they feel. But for me, I just have a more level of comfortability in Oakland than
Yeah.
I don't have in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like for me, the ghetto is the marina in San Francisco, right? Like I just feel
Like-
hyper uncomfortable.
Like in like where
Why?
like
I
Marina.
just don't like it.
You
dude.
feel like you're gonna be like profiled there? Like I don't know. I feel like San Francisco is kind of not that place.
Bro,
I don't know, maybe
it's-
maybe
yeah,
I'm-
bro,
maybe I'm
it's
not,
definitely
you know.
that place, man. Like anytime,
Yeah.
there's a video of this guy who was in Pack Heights, and he's a delivery man, and he's delivering packages. He's a
Mhm.
black dude, and they were like, "What are you doing here?" Like, yo, those people don't.
Okay, if you're in the right neighborhood, I agree. But I guess like most of San Francisco, I just like the Mission. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
the
very
Mission, yeah,
different
yeah,
than the
you're right.
Marina and Pack Heights, and
Even the Marina, it's kind of like a park. I feel like you're not gonna be like I don't know. It's like a park. or
that's just
maybe-
one part of it, bro. Like the
maybe
rest
I'm
of the Marina,
not
it is
familiar.
not dope for people like us. If you ever walk around the Marina, there are no black people, no Hispanics. It's all white people.
I
bro.
feel like Pack Heights, and maybe I just don't know San Francisco as well as you do, but Pack Heights almost feels like kind of like a gated community. Like it feels like a place like if you're not meant to be there, you shouldn't be there.
I understand. Yeah, and that is the feeling, but like, it's just it's crazy. You wouldn't expect. It's kind of like how we always talk about, man, Boston's racist as fuck. Like it's the same kind of idea, which is it's still in San Francisco.
And maybe that's why I feel this way because like I live in I'm from Boston, and never do I walk around Boston and feel uncomfortable. That never happens to me.
Mm.
Besides one neighborhood, Southie.
Oh, them niggas. Southie?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
man.
like every
I've-
neighbor,
I've
every
heard
city,
stories,
every
like-
city has their area where you're just not supposed to go.
Yeah.
But
That's a special kind of white.
in general, like I've never felt uncomfortable like in Boston. Like I never felt
Mm.
like white people were looking at me crazy. First of all, Boston has plenty of black people. It's far more black people than it does here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
It's also a bigger city.
it's a bigger city. Is it? I don't know. Maybe.
Oakland's not that big population.
Oh yeah, Oakland's not that big population wise. But yeah, like I don't know. Like there's plenty of white people there. There's plenty of black people there. There's
Yeah.
plenty of
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess. Yeah. I can see that. I just. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like. I don't know. I can't really like describe like the feeling I get sometimes when I'm like walking around in certain neighborhoods, but.
maybe it's also that I don't like love like okay here's my feelings about the two cities and then we can move on to a different
Mhm.
topic.
yeah.
I like Oakland and San Francisco for two different reasons.
Yeah.
I like San Francisco because it feels more like an East Coast city, and I like that. To me, that
Mm.
feels like home.
Mhm,
Right.
mhm, mhm.
Oakland does have more like I'm not saying you guys are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Oakland does have that more like homey feeling.
Mhm,
Right.
Like
mhm,
Right.
mhm.
it feels more community, especially when you go to the right places.
Right.
Like you know
Mhm.
if you're shopping at a black owned place, like
Mhm.
Right.
you know.
Right.
Um,
I go
trying
to
get
San
my point.
Francisco for very specific reasons.
Yeah.
And that's like.
I can't
Yeah.
rest in San Francisco. Like that's the biggest thing is like living in San Francisco. I just couldn't rest. Like I never felt like I could rest. It's just too.
Oh,
It's a lot. But like
I-
here, I come here and it's like.
I also
I
feel
mean,
like
I
you just
think-
don't like that city vibe too. You know.
Pardon?
I feel like you also just don't
Yeah,
like
I'm
that
trying
city
to really.
vibe.
I'm not a big city
Yeah.
person.
I think I differ from you on that too. Like I feel like there's places where I can rest and feel at ease, but I think it's just, I'm there for a very specific reason. And
Like, where in Oakland do you like to go?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
yo, we all gotta go to the archery range.
Oh, I'm down.
I
love archery.
I go up to the Oakland Hills a lot. Like even when I lived in San Francisco, I would go to Presidio a lot.
Yeah, Presidio's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I go up to the Oakland Hills a lot.
I guess for me, like, I haven't found a place in Oakland that I really like to go.
I go two places. I go to the harbor, and then I go to
Where's the harbor?
hills, Middle Harbor Park, just by the
Oh.
harbor.
Yeah.
Where's that near?
And it's just like you've never been. It's like it's out of the way.
Is it like Bayside?
Bayside. Yeah, it's on the bay.
Mm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I go there
It's a nice
probably.
little park.
What?
It's a nice park.
Middle Harbor. I go
Yeah.
there every
Oh.
day.
Yeah.
Every single day.
I used to go to the archery range like every single day,
Yeah.
Hmm.
every morning.
Yeah, I know. I think I also just haven't found my spots in Oakland. Like, there,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
There's nowhere I go
Yeah.
that I like really like. Whereas like San Francisco, I had plenty of places I love to go.
Yeah. Also, the thing is to here as well, things are way more spread out. Like,
Yeah.
Like
Like I can park my truck certain places. Sorry.
yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. San Francisco is only 7 square miles, so everything is very compact. You can go anywhere.
Mhm.
But like here, it's like cross town's like a 10-minute drive, 15-minute drive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I guess I just don't even know what is crosstown. Like all I know is downtown.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically it.
You been to Piedmont?
I don't think so.
You've
College Ave?
You've been.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's a cool little place. I don't know. It's hard to be like, oh, this place and this place and this place. But you just kind of got to find it.
Yeah.
That's too short said. Get in where you fit in. And that's
I think that is a perfect place to end this. Oh, thank God. Yeah. Well, thank you guys. This has been a good one. I enjoyed it. And
Same.
thank you guys.
Can you end with that song?
What song?
Get in where you fit in. Too
No,
short?
I can't.
Oh, it's licensed.
License it. I didn't. No, I didn't. Thank you guys.